Hello and welcome to the Eagle Insights podcast. I'm your host, Henry Conte, the Communications Coordinator with the Bellbrook-Sugarcreek Local School District. On this edition of the podcast, we have new band director Jacob Page. Jacob came into the fold from Coleraine in July after former band director Andy Solomon decided to step away at the end of last season. We got into a bevy of topics, including his philosophy for the year and years ahead, how many instruments he can play, and so much more. Thanks for listening, and cue the Eagle. Jacob, thanks for joining me. Welcome to Bellbrook High School and Middle School as the band director. Tell me a little bit about this adventure. You kind of grabbed the job kind of late. So what was that like when you saw this opening, and what attracted you to it?
Yeah, I think for me, I saw the opening through Barb posting, was a friend of a friend, and saw that go up. And I had known the Bellbrook name from well before, marching competitively in high school and things like that. We'd seen them at BOA where I had grown up, and it was really cool. I was like, wow, this is like a real job, a great district, and a really awesome music program. So I was like, all right, let's try it. Let's see what happens. And so that turned from a Monday, and then on Friday I got the call to, hey, come take an interview. And the following Monday and Tuesday I was in 2 interviews, and by Tuesday night we were like, hey, let's do this thing. So it was a really quick process, but a lot of fun and definitely very exciting. It was really tight. So for me, it was like Tuesday hire, and then it was like Wednesday meet some parents, Thursday meet some more parents, Friday meet the staff, and Monday we were in band camp already. And it was like, all right, good luck, you'll be fine. Do your thing.
Most recently, you were at Coleraine, right?
Yes. So I spent 7 years at Coleraine High School. So I'd worked there, and then alongside our 2 middle school feeder programs into that building.
Okay. And so what was it before that? Where'd you go to high school? Where'd you go to college?
Sure. Yeah, I grew up actually just south of Pittsburgh, in Washington, PA, and went to a competitive marching band school there, Trinity High School. Ended up at Youngstown State. For my undergrad degree under Dr. Steve Gage, who was a really amazing music teacher, and really I was lucky enough my last 2 years of high school to kind of interact with him through some concert band stuff we had done, and some region bands and things like that. And he was the conductor, and he kind of really pulled me in that direction to be a music teacher. And did my time up there, and then got my first job outside of Akron. Taught for 3 years at Crestwood Local Schools, super small farm community, like 2 stoplights in the whole district kind of thing.
Yeah.
But a good time there, and then got married to my wife, and she's originally from down here, so we moved down this direction after that.
That's awesome. So let's even back up before that, because
Sure.
This is something that kind of fascinates me. I cannot play a lick. I can't read music and transfer it from sight to fingertips.
Yes.
Doesn't work for me. I was a singer, actually.
Sure.
But I tried to play saxophone and was horrible. My wife, however, graduated from Bellbrook, was a flautist, I believe you would say.
Yes.
And she was in the marching band here back in 98 and before that. And so when did music start for you? And then when did you learn that, my guess is, as a band director, you can play multiple instruments?
Yes. So music for me, I started in elementary school. I actually went to Catholic middle and elementary school, and we started in 4th grade. So I've been playing band in 4th grade through 8th grade, and then when I got to high school, kind of started to be more involved because it was, a public school, so I had a lot more opportunities there. Started marching band my sophomore year and was like, wow, I love this thing. And that was the same year I got switched. Originally, I was a clarinet player, and I got switched to tuba and playing sousaphone and marching bands.
That's a big jump.
It was very much, but I was like the super tall, skinny guy, and my band director was like, yeah, we really need somebody tall to play sousaphone. And I was like, okay, I'll try it. So, that was my first week of band camp, was switching instruments and figuring all that. So that was a lot of fun. And then probably...
I'm going to interrupt.
Yeah, sure.
Could you play sousaphone?
No, not at all. They were like, here's a mouthpiece. See if you can make sound. And I made sound. He's like, great, that'll be fine, and you'll figure it out. So I was lucky enough. There were 2 other guys that were in my grade that played sousaphone. So the band director stuck me in between the 2 of them and said, between the 2 of these guys, you'll figure out how to play and what to do. And they're like, here's the finger for this, here's the finger for that, and push these buttons then. And so we just kind of figured it out.
Wow.
Yeah, well, I was lucky enough that we had a student teacher that year who was a euphonium player. from Slippery Rock University, and he came in and he was in every single day. So I would come down during my lunch bell every day that first year and get like a 20-minute lesson with him every single day. And we would just like hammer home on how to play and all that kind of stuff. So it was awesome. But then getting back to like deciding to be a band director, it was probably like the end of my sophomore, early junior year, right about the time that I met Dr. Gage, that I was like, wow, this is really fun. I really enjoy this. You know, maybe this could be something. And I really, my band directors were amazing gentlemen, but they were super duper strict. And when I got to meet Steve Gage for the first time, he was very loving of music, and his like passion for music and all of the things kind of really came out. And he really, really helped me find like that was my thing. Like I really found it to be really exciting. So that kind of pushed me into that, and then did some drum and bugle corps after that, which is where I met my wife while I was in college. And, you know, as they say, the rest is history. From a music teaching perspective, so I knew a little bit of woodwinds and a little bit of brass stuff, and I didn't know a whole lot else. Obviously, your undergrad of music education really pushes you through the paces of, you know, one semester you're taking all woodwinds methods, so you spend probably 2 to 3 weeks on every single woodwind instrument, and same thing for brass and same thing for percussion, and we even had a guitar and a vocal method class that we had to take up at Youngstown. So I had to do a little bit of everything and try to figure out as much as possible. But after 10 years of teaching now, I feel like I kind of got to handle pretty much everything, maybe other than some of our double reed friends makes it a little tougher, but it's a good time still.
The bands in school are great, but it's the marching band that really kind of brings home awards and brings people to the stadium and stuff like that. So what are your aspirations for, let's just talk about this year's band.
Sure. I think this year's group is really, really strong, musically, visually. I mean, some of the things that I've seen in the past couple weeks, just us getting everybody together and starting, like their passion and desire to do really well is phenomenal. And they've really like embraced the change, if you will, and they're like going for it. They're like, hey, we're going to try something different. Here we go. Let's see what happens. So I'm really optimistic. We've like really blown through a lot of my expectations here in the last couple weeks. So I'm really optimistic that this season's going to be really successful for them. I know there's a strong desire from the kids to do well in competitions and things like that. You know, we're going to a regional this year and then going back to Bands of America Grand Nationals in Indy. So I know there's a lot of excitement around that of can we be successful on not just our little stage here in, you know, Ohio, but can we be bigger on that national stage going forward too.
Gotcha. So talk about the performance piece. Edward
Sure.
Scissorhands, was that in stone before you walked in the door, or was that something else?
Thankfully it was.
Okay.
You know, trying to figure it all out, plus all of that probably would have been a bit much, but no, the design team and the staff has really, really put everything together, and they were like, here's the package, do what you can with it. And I think, again, I think the kids really said, all right, let's try it. I'm like, hey, we're going to try this time. And they're like, that's weird. We've never done that before. I'm like, it's okay. Like, let's just try it and see what happens. And they've really embraced that, especially a big shout out to the senior class. For them, like, they were like, this is really different, not like kind of different. This is really different. And I'm like, okay, well, we'll make it together. Like, we'll figure it out together. And they're like, okay. And they've really embraced that and gone for it.
Gotcha. What is the, I guess, most different thing that they're doing? Let's just talk specifically about in Edward Scissorhands.
Sure. I think the character for them in Edward Scissorhands, like the last couple of years, what I've seen through through watching some of the videos and talking to the staff, like the character has never been like really dark and different, whereas this show has those kind of dark feelings to it and those kind of different kind of harmonies and stuff like that. So the kids have really embraced that, like, I've got to be the character. You know, watching them maybe the first or second day when we were with our color guard staff, like working with the kids and making even the wind players, making them do faces and do hand things and motions and stuff like that. They really embraced it and we're like, this is awesome, let's go. Yeah. So it's been a really cool experience to see them open themselves up to new things too.
In coming in and being kind of the new guy, the new band director, all of a sudden you're in charge of somebody else's decision. Like you said, the seniors have been welcoming. How does that meet with your expectations? Was it surprising that it was I won't say it was easy because I don't think anything like that is ever easy, but it seems like you've been welcomed by that community quite easily, and that it's been a very smooth transition for you.
It has. I mean, all things considered, it really has been a really smooth transition. We've hit some bumps and things like that because, I don't know what the seniors expect for senior night or things like that. Mm-hmm. So we've worked through some of those bumps and things like that. But, I mean, the parent organization does so much for these kids. The staff was very open and welcoming, whether it was color guard or percussion. I mean, it just seemed like everybody was like, cool, let's embrace the change this year and see what comes out of it. And it's really made, I think the kids are really enjoying it. I can't speak to what was before, but right. It seems like the kids really enjoy being together on the field and making music and making things happen. So no complaints on my end, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Stepping out of this year and for the future, talk about what is your aspiration in that?
Sure. I think for me in the marching band sense, I would love to grow that program more and reach out to more kids. I think it's really awesome that we have the opportunity to be in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade because I think that gives me the chance to be in with those kids more and they know how I work. So I think that that's going to bring a lot of friends to the marching band side of things. So I hopefully see those numbers grow. And from a competitive standpoint, I think they're doing, again, previous to me, they've been very successful in our local circuit, obviously keeping up on that. But I would really like to see, can we dip our toe back into being nationally a little bit more competitive, for sure. Bring back some of the ideas that we had in the 90s and early thousands of, Bellbrook was the team to beat.
Right.
So for me, that's a goal. Whether that's 5 years or 10 years from now, whatever that gets to. But, I think the process is there for us to be successful. I think the motivation from the kids is there for us to be successful. We have world-class staff that does amazing things with our percussion and guard. I mean, there's no reason that we can't be competitive at that level, I think.
Yeah. So you mentioned being in with 6th, 7th, and 8th. Is that, because I think a lot of people might not know, is that something do you think is common throughout in terms of the high school band director also teaching 6th, 7th, and 8th grade?
I think in the really good programs around the country, I think you see that. Because I think that's the opportunity, that 6th, 7th, and 8th grade is the opportunity for them to get molded in the way that you want to see that program go to the high school. Mm-hmm. Again, no disrespect to my high school friends, but in 3 or 4 years, they're not going to be here anymore. It's the kids that are here now in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade that are going to make the change of what does this program look like in that 3 or 4 years coming down the road. Yeah. So I think from my perspective, that's where we need to grow and be at our best every single day for sure. Not that those guys aren't important at the high school and all that stuff, but these guys are the future of that program, and that will be in 4 or 5 years, that'll be what we have.
Yeah.
So
is there and I don't know if this was done
sure
already, but is there a sense of getting those sophomores, juniors, and seniors in this room specifically? We're in the middle school band room for those who are seeing this or listening and don't know where we are. Is there a sense of that? Is that something that has happened, will continue to happen?
It's not something that's been there. It's something that I'm trying to get a little bit more in. Like tonight, we have our dating us, but tonight we have our middle school open house for all of the band and stuff like that. So we're getting the high school to come and play. We're going to have the high school marching band down here and playing and showing some of those 6th, 7th, and 8th grade parents, hey, these are the things that we think your kids should be involved in when they get older. I think those little aspects of the more those students can see and hear that program, the more then it's going to be the expectation that this is what we're going to do. Not oh, well, maybe I'll do marching band, but oh, no, I'm going to do marching band from the first day I set foot into 6th grade band. Right. And I think setting up that success, and again, with myself and Mr. Halls and Mrs. Seiler being involved in the middle school, I think that only breeds more success for the high school in years to come.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the last thing I want to ask you is how many instruments can you play?
So let's put it this way. I can play everything, but everything to a different level. So I look at it as more of like what can I help my sixth graders with? Where can I be effective? So like my oboe friends, probably my flute friends, are probably sixth grade level. When we hit seventh grade, I could probably like tap out on like saxophone, and when it comes to technique, maybe some of our percussion stuff maybe. But then like as you go higher up, like eighth grade, I could probably get you through probably everything you need on clarinet in eighth grade, maybe even ninth grade. And then pretty much all the brass stuff, I could probably get you through at least the middle of high school, if not all the way to the end of high school on.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, it's a really cool opportunity. Like sitting down and playing with the kids has been really fun because they're like, whoa, you play instruments. I'm like, yes, I play all the instruments. We all do everything. And just for them to get to see, again, the way we are set up here is just so awesome that all the teachers get to be in every class. So for them to get to see that progression of, cool, Mr. Pager's on the podium, what is Mr. Seiler doing, or what is Mr. Hall's doing?
Right.
And then as we rotate, we rotate what group we're working with and things like that. So it's just a really good complement. And I haven't been a part of a system like this before. So it's been an adjustment the last couple of days to not have to be at a 10 and doing everything at all the times. But it's been really awesome. I'm really excited to see what the three of us can make happen here.
Great. Thank you very much.
Anytime, sir.
A special thanks to Jacob for sitting down with me so early in his tenure here. We're excited to have him, and I'm excited to work with him in the future. Now for the ego droppings. We just passed Labor Day, so we'll start with a Music Boosters meeting, How on Message, on September 9th, and a PTO meeting on the 10th. The kindergarten scavenger hunt is also on the 10th, and there's a Board of Education meeting on the 12th. And as a reminder, there's no school on the 13th for Professional Development Day. There's an Athletic Boosters meeting on the 18th. On the 19th, back at Stephen Bell, is the Food Truck Festival, and that is for first and second grade families on the playground. So come out and enjoy everything we have to offer here at the district. Make it to one thing, make it to all the things. We don't care. We just want you here with us. Be part of our 5-star community. The playground should be open soon, and we'll have more news on that. Thank you so much for listening. Please like, follow, and subscribe, and please go out there and have a good day. And if it can't be a good one, make it a great one.